This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 410. I'm a man of many experiments by Colin Wright of ExileLifestyle.com, and I'm Justin Malik. Hello, happy Tuesday, and welcome back to Optimal Living Daily, a podcast with a vision of bringing hundreds of blogs to audio for free. And I currently read from a bunch of different personal development and minimalism blogs, like The Minimalist, Mark and Angel, and Derek Sivers, Steve Pavlina, Zen Habits, and many, many more, including Exile Lifestyle, which I'm reading from today. And before I get into it, I'm lucky enough to have FreshBooks sponsor today's episode. They're a cloud accounting software that I use myself. Come check out all of their features for free for a month without entering a credit card. Just come by freshbooks.com/living to get your trial and put Optimal Living Daily in the How Did You Hear About Us section. And now let's get to the post today and start optimizing your life. I'm a man of many experiments by Colin Wright of ExileLifestyle.com. Part of why I started traveling was so that I would be able to go through personal evolutions more quickly. Travel allows you to take what you've learned and apply it more quickly. If you stay in one place, you are subconsciously kept from making all the changes that you should. Personal habits and outside influences like friends and family, well-meaning as they may be, tend to treat you like you are and not how you want to be, and there's not really anything that can be done about that. When you move around though, you are able to make positive changes as you learn, since there are few habits and less consistency in surroundings and the people you're surrounded by. Step into my lab. I endeavor to speed up the process even more by constantly performing a series of lifestyle experiments in order to expose myself to extreme conditions. This has allowed me to figure things out that would normally have taken a whole lot longer to realize, and I've been happy enough with the results to continue to find new and interesting experiments to undergo. But first, what do I mean by experiments? Well, the major experiment that I'm working on right now is the Exile Lifestyle Project. It's not exactly normal to move to a new country every 4 months, much less to have a group of strangers to tell you where you'll be going. I've just completed an experiment wherein I didn't wear black for 4 months. This was tricky since a large portion of my wardrobe when I was living in Los Angeles was black. I try not to use any paper products except for my notebook, sketchbook, business cards, and napkins and toilet paper. All of the books I read now are digital or borrowed, and most of my brainstorming, accounting, and writing take place on my computer. When I first moved to LA, I decided to take up a no TV experiment. I tried to keep up with pop culture without the aid of a TV. This was especially difficult since everything in LA revolves around the film and TV industries. I've just completed another round of my minimalism experiment where I reduced the number of items I own to as low as possible. I started by getting rid of all my stuff except what would fit into a relatively large carry-on bag, and now I'm down to a much smaller carry-on and a total of about 50 items I own in the entire world. There are just a few examples, but a lifestyle experiment can be absolutely anything, so long as it's different from your normal way of living. I'm not a big meat eater, but I'm planning on doing a raw food diet for a month very soon. I eat raw food from time to time, so this won't be an enormous stretch for me. Not like it would be for my buddy Carlos, who is on the Argentine red meat diet, but it's different enough that it will alter my perception for a while. Checking the results. And that's the whole point, getting a different outlook on life, even if just for a short time. Even if you only see through that different lens for a month or a week or an hour, you've seen it and you won't be able to unsee it. Suddenly a whole new world of possibilities has opened up for you, and all it took was becoming aware of it. By not wearing black, I was forced to figure out what other colors worked well with my style and coloration. By using very little paper, I figured out ways to live my life without consuming so many resources, and in fact was able to streamline many of my processes by keeping my documents and details digital. By not having a TV, I was forced to talk to more people about what they enjoy watching and figure out ways to watch programs online so I wasn't completely lost in conversation. By reducing the number of items I own to the absolute lowest count, I'm figuring out what's essential in my life and what's just clutter. By traveling around so frequently, I'm discovering more about myself than I ever could have guessed, and learning how to deal with completely unpredictable situations calmly, rationally, and with enthusiasm. Preparing the lab. I would encourage anyone who hears this to take up their own experiment, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Don't do anything so extreme that you won't follow through. You would probably learn a whole lot by living the life of a homeless person for 6 months, but unless you've got some serious grit, I doubt you'll go more than a day. Do something that's within your reach. It's great to dream, and there will be plenty of opportunities to achieve those dreams, but it may not be a great idea to blow all your money on a boat for the purpose of trying it out. Find someone with a boat and live on it for a while as your experiment, and then pull the trigger on the full purchase when you're more sure of it later. That's an important point. Experiments are just experiments, not major life changes. Anything you take up, you can set back down if you don't like it, or can't do it, or can't afford it, or whatever. And that's the whole reason you're doing it, to see if it's possible and if it's something you want to strive for. I'm probably not going to eat a raw diet for more than a month, but I might. How could I know? Maybe I'll just enjoy the hell out of it and go full-blown raw all year round. The more likely scenario, having done a few of these, is that I will learn some great raw dishes and integrate them into my current diet after the month is up, which would be perfect. It's rare that an experiment will completely shift your worldview, though it's possible. But usually, you get something out of it when all is said and done. Update, December 11th, 2016. This concept actually became the theme of my first TEDx talk back in 2001. Lifestyle experimentation is still a huge part of what I do today. In fact, I barely even think about them that way anymore because experimenting in little ways has become such an integral part of my lifestyle. It's a wonderful way to not just stay intellectually engaged and challenged, adding positive friction to your life, but also to iterate more quickly into a better and better version of yourself. You just listened to the post titled, "I'm a Man of Many Experiments" by Colin Wright of ExileLifestyle.com. And I'm not a man of travel. I don't travel very frequently, but his point is really good. And if you want some extra tips on how to build that change muscle and get good at building new habits, my brother read a really good post from Leo Babauta of Zen Habits on his podcast Optimal Health Daily on Monday's episode. That's episode 136. I highly recommend that one. And Neil, that's my brother, also included his own tips that work really well. So there's a ton of useful info in that episode. Again, that's episode 136 of Optimal Health Daily. And luckily, I do have a sponsor for this episode, which helps a lot to cover the many expenses that come with producing 4 podcasts. Big thanks to FreshBooks, who I use for my own business accounting. I haven't found any other accounting software or invoicing solutions because it's been way too complicated to do really simple things. For invoices, all it should be is putting in a description, the person who's supposed to receive it, and the dollar amount, maybe 1 or 2 other things like a logo. It should be that easy. And it's not for any companies I've seen until I found FreshBooks. It took me like 30 seconds to create and send an invoice, which is a huge time saver and it makes everything a lot less stressful. Plus you can see when they viewed the invoice, keep track of when it was paid, and even send late payment reminders if you want to. Come check out FreshBooks, all of their features for free for 30 days. You don't need to put in a credit card. Just visit freshbooks.com/living and let them know that I sent you. And that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with the start of a 2-part post from Steve Pavlina on personal development and self-conditioning. So I'll see you there, where your optimal life awaits.
Hey, this is Dan from the Optimal Finance Daily podcast, which is a lot like this show, except more focused on personal finance. Justin handpicks the best posts he can find from blogs and authors like Ramit Sethi, Mr. Money Mustache, and more, and I read them to you 5 days a week. So if you enjoy this podcast, come on over and subscribe to Optimal Finance Daily too. And together, we'll optimize your financial life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode. And head to oldpodcast.com, that's OLDpodcast.com, for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.